Hello there and good morning. Welcome to this, the 29th WP Builds newsletter. We've put this out on Monday the 10th of September and it's got the WordPress news covering the week commencing the 3rd of September, all in 2018. Just a couple of things before we begin. Go to wpbuilds.com/deals and you can avail yourself of a whole heap of deals. There's a few new ones that we added this week. Also, if you go to /subscribe, you can get onto our newsletter and Slack channel and all sorts of other things, including Messenger chat, which is quite fun. Okay, the other one, I suppose, is webinars. Now, we are doing lots and lots of webinars. I think I've got 4 in the pipeline with all sorts of different people. We had one for ProjectToddle, but we've got one with Adam Hempenstall from Better Proposals, and we've got Arindo Duque from WP Ultimo. And this week coming up, we've got Corey Mass from Kanban WP. So go to wpbuilds.com/webinars. You can find all of this in the main menu of the wpbuilds.com website. Right, last thing I will say before we begin, please go and share this stuff all over the internet. It really does help, and you can do that by clicking on the buttons underneath the wpbuilds.com player. iTunes reviews are most appreciated. Okay, right, enough of me droning on about that. Let's get to why you're actually here, which is the WordPress news. So the first article I've got today for you comes from the talkmag.io website. It's DocPop's news drop. DocPop puts out lots of content in the WordPress space, and this week he has got somebody on who we spoke about last week because Scott Bowler decided he would fork WordPress with the impending Gutenberg release in 5.0, and he's got him on his video podcast talking about why he's done this. It's a really interesting little chat, really, and I would commend it to you. It's certainly interesting to see people forking WordPress core, and obviously, you know, if they've decided to do that, it's good to hear why they're doing it. Okay, the next one, speaking of WordPress core, this presumably won't be in WordPress core. Perhaps it will be. You never know. The WP Tavern is reporting that there is going to be, well, somebody has put Daniel James, to be more precise, has put together a dark mode of the dashboard in WP Admin. I quite like it. To me, I really like dark apps. So, you know, on lots of Mac apps, I get this choice, and I much prefer the dark version. So if you go to the link at the bottom of the show notes and you click on it, you can find all the details about why he built this plugin. I think he's calling it Midnight in the admin color scheme section when you go into your profile. But anyway, there it is. I just think that was a really small but interesting little thing that's happened this week, and certainly something that I'm going to be trying out. Right. Speaking of this week, Duplicator, which is a plugin used by many people to sort of copy their website and deploy it somewhere else. There is a remote code execution flaw which has been highlighted on the WordFence blog. It's not the plugin per se, but I don't know if you've ever done these kind of backup plugins where you back it up and then you get a zip file and then you get a kind of another file which you have to upload to the server, which kind of unlocks that backup. Often it's called something like, I don't know, update or unpack.php or something along those lines. I can't remember. But it's the fact that these files have got the problems in them. And in many cases, when the people have done the migration, they leave that file there. In fact, you should clean it all up, get rid of the backup directory, get rid of any files that you put into the server that were to do with that backup. Just basically leave WordPress core, nothing else. And there's problems in that file which can allow other people to execute code remotely, so not something that you want. If you're into that kind of thing and you've got the Duplicator plugin or you've used it, it might be worth checking that out. Go and click on the notes underneath the podcast player. Right, the next one is we had Andre Gagnon from ProjectToddle on a webinar a couple of weeks ago, and he was mentioning in that webinar that he had a beta update. And he's now turned this into, it was basically this idea, this file upload feature has now been included in ProjectToddle. Basically now in the comments section you can update and upload PDFs and GIFs and all of that kind of thing. I know I'm using ProjectToddle, so if you are, there's a nice little update where you and your clients can upload files backwards and forwards to each other. Now, I'm going to shockingly pronounce this, but it's a place in Nepal, and it's called Biratnagar, Biratnagar. This is a piece of community news, and it's just to say that this Nepalese city, town, village, I'm not entirely sure, they're going to have a WordCamp. It's very exciting. They've had lots and lots of very well-attended meetups, according to WP Tavern, but they've actually got themselves on the agenda for a WordCamp, a proper one, in December 2018. I think it's on the 22nd. So if you're on holiday or you live in Nepal or you're in that part of the world, go check it out. I'm always delighted when I hear about this kind of news because I just, love those kind of things. And it's very nice to see that this is spreading far and wide. Okay, 2 Elementor related things. If you're an Elementor page builder user, this comes directly from the Elementor.com website. They have I don't know if it's a direct relationship that has caused this to happen or if it's just Envato have decided to do this. But we spoke a few weeks ago about Envato Elements. If you've got Envato Elements, it's a monthly fee that you pay and you get loads of assets from Envato. There's absolutely loads, apparently, that are specific to Elementor, and they're calling them Elementor templates. So you can download a whole load of these Elementor elements, or should I say Envato elements, and they're pre-made bits and pieces for Elementor, and apparently there's absolutely loads of them, 350 unique Elementor templates for multiple website niches, it says. So if you are if you're an Elementor user and you are thinking about subscribing to Envato Elements, then possibly that might push you over the edge. Speaking of Elementor, I said there was a second piece of news. This is absolutely fascinating. Elementor has been ported to Drupal. I actually had a quick chat with Ben Pines this week and I asked about this, and obviously it's the free version that's available on the WP repo. It's a Drupal module, which is the same thing as a WordPress plugin. It's very much early days. It seems like it's just over a month old, but fascinating. As far as I'm aware, there is nothing like this in the Drupal space, so it could really upset things over there, and Elementor might very well find themselves with a whole new revenue stream. Okay. If, like me, you rely on a forms plugin to do your forms, one of those is WP Forms, and they've actually got Stripe recurring functionality built in now. There's not a lot more to say than that. If you are a WP Forms user and you've got a Stripe account, frankly, who hasn't got a Stripe account these days, you can now use recurring payments with Stripe, which is really, really handy. There's a blog post on the wpforms.com website, which is linked, and you can find out all the options and permutations. It's not, there's absolutely loads of things that you can do with it. It's not just a simple recurring payment. There's all sorts of things. Okay, speaking of plugins which we use, another widely used plugin is Pippin Williamson's Easy Digital Downloads. Well, now they have got a new Easy Digital Downloads booking. It's called Bookings, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong about that. I'm not sure if this has been around before, if it's been pulled, or if it's a brand new thing. Anyway, this has come onto my radar. You can now do bookings, and Pippin doesn't do things by half, and so he's got every option you can imagine under the sun. There's lots of screenshots on his website where it shows how it works with the calendars and everything, and it looks really good. So if you need to sell this to a client, or your client needs this service, or perhaps you're selling stuff for yourself in booking your time out or what have you, Easy Digital Downloads will now take care of that for you. Very, very nice indeed. Now this one is a little bit on the complicated side. I'm not going to claim that I fully understand it. It's a thing on the Securi website. It's entitled WordPress database upgrade phishing campaign. And it's about the fact that a lot of people are receiving emails from compromised websites which purport to, and they look very authentic, they look like the sort of typical upgrade WordPress message that you might get with all the correct styling and fonts and everything. However, unfortunately, if you click the upgrade button, it takes you to a fake WordPress login page, and at this point you know what's going to happen. You're going to sort of enter your username and password and all this kind of stuff. So just to be aware that if anything comes into your inbox and it looks a little bit suspicious, I always just double check in my Gmail. I check the to see who it's actually coming from. So this just to be alerted to the fact that this is going on this week. Another thing which I fully don't understand is all of this wonderful stuff that WP Engine and CloudFlare have announced this week. It goes on the wpengine.com website under the title of WP Engine launches world's first global edge security for WordPress with CloudFlare. And a little bit over my head, to be honest. This sort of stuff is a little bit beyond me, but I'll tell you what it says. Essentially, they're trying to beef up the security of their offering. It says global edge security benefits include protects business operations with DDoS, denial of service migration, secures customer data with SSL TLS encryption, ensures app and server availability with managed WAF, accelerates internet applications with full page CDN. Now my guess is that this is possibly for, I don't know if this is going to be for the enterprise clients or for all of you, but it is nice to see that things are moving forward on WP Engine, even if, to be honest, it's a little bit beyond me. WP Engine customers, go to the post, press the button and find out more about it. This is the end of the WordPressy bit, and it's the start of the other bit where we talk about not WordPress things. I've got two things this week. The first one is from Search Engine Journal, and they have an article entitled Google. Sites using a lot of JavaScript may not be moved to mobile first indexing. Now, obviously, you realize that in this day and age, Google would like to promote mobile sites as being mobile so that, they've got an entirely different listing. If you're holding a phone in your hand, it's going to show you different results. Well, apparently sites which are heavily dependent upon, super intensive JavaScript stuff, flashbang, this, that, and the other, and lots of JavaScript. Well, apparently the search engine algorithm is unable to, in some senses, it gets a little bit confused and it's not quite sure, is this a desktop sort of site or is this a site which is intended for mobile use? And given that problem, it then defaults to think, well, it's probably desktop. So just something to be wary of. Obviously, in this day and age, we're all very, very conscious of search engine optimization. So perhaps minimizing the amount of unnecessary JavaScript on your site is a good idea. It's probably a good idea anyway, in all honesty. And the next one is a Chrome update. Apparently there is a brand new Chrome coming out. Not only does it look really different in that the tabs look completely different, but one of the things that they're going to do, the URL bar, which in Chrome is called the Omni bar, is actually going to start giving suggested answers in the bar itself. A little drop down will appear, but in other words, it won't require you to actually go to a web page. Now, this is really fascinating because if you think about it, at the moment it gives you suggested search queries. So, for example, you might type in WP and then things will pop up like engine or builds or what have you. Now, at the moment, that's fine. That's how we've always worked with search engines. But if you type in a question, it's now going to try and provide the answers. And the example it gives is, how long ago did the Tyrannosaurus Rex live? And it gives you the answer directly underneath. And so it gives you the question followed by the answer. Now, this could have profound effects on the sort of stuff that people are searching. And obviously at the moment, people are getting lots and lots of SEO juice from questions, and people are coming to their website to find answers to questions. And if kind of Google provides those answers because it has gained that knowledge from all of our websites, interesting. Anyway, there we go. That was the WP Builds news for this week. I hope you have a lovely, lovely week. I appreciate you listening once again, and enjoy yourself. Have a nice time, and we'll see you on Thursday for the full podcast. Bye-bye.